A story that I think is pretty big for world news. New data from China's National Bureau of Statistics reveals that the world's second largest economy had its weakest economic growth in nearly 3 decades last year. Due to the trade war with the US that has lasted nearly 2 years, Beijing has expected economic growth to fall off some, but 6.1% is the lowest percentage of economic growth China has had since 1990. Wednesday's signing of the first phase of a new trade deal between the US and China offered some optimism that China's economic growth will be able to rebound, but sources told the news service that Beijing is setting a modest target of 6% for 2020. The target for 2019 had been 6 to 6.5%, which was reached. Despite those numbers, Masaki Kano, chief economist at Sony Financial Holdings in Tokyo, told Reuters that China's growth is expected to come further down to below 6% in 2020. The Chinese economy is unlikely to fall abruptly because of government policies. But at the same time, the trend of a further slowdown of the economy will remain unchanged, he added. So someone who is an American might say, why does this matter? This is like boring. Yeah, but we're talking about, I've always been very fascinated when you have some number that is the worst it's been a very large portion of time. And I'm glad they mentioned the trade war. They talked about how this New Deal uh, indicates optimism, and you're going to have people who go out and buy things and think that everything's going to go back to normal. But when you have tariffs and you have this erratic era, it's like I remember Gravel, when he ran for president the second time, he warned that China was going to replace us as the world superpower because we're bombing all these different countries and they haven't been in war in over 40 years. But this is another thing that they're not as willing to be. I mean, we're having a trade war with them, or we're bombing 7 countries, and like, is it any wonder that the majority of the people over here live paycheck to paycheck? So China is they're smart. They don't have the same clowns running them that we have over here. And as far as these numbers, it's just like you have to wonder if it's just a trade war because we don't have the data for 2018. Um, but if we didn't have a trade war with them, let's say since 1990, so maybe before that, but not after, you can reasonably deduce that that trade war had an effect on this because we do exports where we get imports, so we had an impact, I think.